This year started with these cute little beginnings. These little watercolor bookmarks and postcards. And what spurred it all and helped me to get back to a painting practice, right? After years, I've been trying to get back to it. I had gone to college for it, but work and everything else and the stress of daily life, I would do a little bit every year, but it would never quite get there. But what changed it all was coming back and having these two sets of Kuretake, they were little postcard sets, and playing with them. And these colors, and this is the card that you make. And this one, I just decided to play. And so I just applied the colors to bookmarks. And then I, through that, have had a real practice this year. It's quite something. And it's a practice that has included, exploring paints and exploring methods of painting, exploring gouache. This year, I filled 3 notebooks. 3! Gosh. Right? And I learned a lot about paint. I did a lot of swatching. I did a lot of painting exercises. But I let myself just have fun. Little exercises from various books with various paints, little scribbles, where I was doing some line and wash, trying different paints and doing the same exercise, trying various techniques within a notebook, finding out the differences of paper again, and it's like a lot of it came back. But those brush miles, when you've been away from them from 10, 15, 20 years, or only doing it a couple times a year, it's really hard to gain traction. I started painting gouache again. I love gouache. Colors, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to remember how to paint. It was quite something. So, there's real things that happened. And sometimes I just swatch color. Sometimes I swatch color and then I did a painting with the color. I really enjoyed swatching color and learning about homemade paints that are on the market today, and learning about granulating paints, which were not a thing back when I was in school. People kind of avoided granulation, or if it happened, it was nice, but you had to control it. But learning different, different palettes that are out there, and colors from student grade to old masters like Old Holland and my Winsor and Newton, and playing with the supposedly student grade Van Gogh paints, which I found I really liked, my Schminky. Bringing out my old Schminkies and playing with them. This is 31 Purple Fish. Rosa Gallery, all these paints. And then I loved the Kuretake so much. I got you can see it up there. I got the 100 set. So just filling pages, even this, it may not have been painting a painting, but swatching was really important. I learned a lot about pigments. I learned a lot about, cheaper pigments and light fastness. And I learned that there are some paints that are just amazingly gorgeous, and I love, 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 like my Gallows, or my M. Graham. Oh my gosh. M. Graham was like wild. And then, playing with Kuretake, these new granulators and things. So it was a real year doing color mixing. I love color mixing. I love color. But filling notebooks, right? It was really an adventure. And in addition to that, I would put these lovely photos, sorry about that, up on my board and inspire me. And then I would move those down and put them, after playing with color. I filled this whole tin this year, or in 2025, last year now, right? And, where I was playing with color, but then they became little mini paintings where I was doing color mixing, but then they took off and did something else, right? Happy little blobs. I did a lot of happy little blobs, but you know what? I learned a lot about water control, dealing with blooms, how layering, and this is again homemade paints. So, like, how are homemade paints different? That's another early one. And I think that was done with a grabby set. One of the these are, it's very much a student grade or hobby grade paints. That was done with hobby grade paints, and that was Hannah MP and the granulators again. It's like, oh, how do these work? Real paints. That's when I called magnolias, and little paints, a lot of little paintings. I really like tiny painting. This is with Pfeiffer paints, Pfeiffer Art Supply paints, another homemade paint company. This one and this one. I love those paints. I'll tell you, they are amazing. But she's going out of business. Oh, makes you sad, right? This was with Artistro, their little 50 color set, and just plain. But I'll tell you, plain, you still get in your paint miles, right? Different types of paper. This is a heavier paper, and that was a vintage set that I pulled out. Another teeny painting with some Schminke Academy. So I just, the biggest thing was learning how to play instead of being too serious. Look at all these wonderful paintings, right? And sometimes they would come out and they'd be just lovely, right? Just amazing. And more academic. This is kind of how I was painting when I was in college. So being able to touch that again a little bit. And, so there's a lot to be said. Here's some M. Graham. It's a quinacridone set. I'm playing with the colors, now they're granulating. And, there's another one with, I think that was a grabby set again, or maybe that, just 31 purple fish, highly granulating, difficult to control. Yeah, that was a good thing for me to learn. And sometimes maybe they weren't as successful, but they were still important to play, and that's what I did. Another more academic kind of, and then I put one in here. This one was from 2009, and again I was trying to get back to painting, and it just never really took. And this is with one of my old Schminke sets. I can tell already because of how saturated the colors are. But this is 2025, and this time around, what we're gonna do is we're gonna empty this board up here, and I'm going to do a 30-day challenge with this size. These smaller tiny paintings, and I'm going to fill this board, and we're going to see where it leads. But we're going to at least do January. I guess it's 31 days, right? And so all this is going to come down. It's going to go in my oh, and I also touched on acrylic gouache a little, and there's some more color. Another Karataki set, a Schminke set. This is the Seascape set. I'm gonna just play and have fun, and I may do little videos. So anyway, I just thought I'd show you this, and I just hope that it encourages someone out there to not let it go. I let it go so long, and I am so glad it's back in my life. This has been a healing for me. Oh, this is another one. This is another one from one of those cheap sets. I think this was from the Peter Piper set that I got from a bookstore, from Barnes and Noble. And yet you can have fun and you can still do technique, and it doesn't matter. It's just starting with what you have. You don't have to go and investing in all these different paints like I did. Or just get something like this and just play and just start. This is what did it for me. I am so in love with the set still. And the Kiritaki, they're just fun to play with. It's a different kind of paint, but you know, they're just fun. And if it's happy little blobs or, you know, kid-like circles, you know, when you look at it all together, it's still art, and it is happiness. And this is how I started 2025, and this is how I'm going to start 2026. I'll be painting here in a little bit. I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful adventure as well. Let's do it together. You know, I want to hear what you're doing. I want to hear if you've struggled to get back into art, and then if you're triumphing and how you're doing it. I want to hear, you know. So thank you so much. We'll talk soon. Happiness. There you go.